President Trump sealing the deal to protect against discriminatory debanking practices today, signing an executive order that removes rules which allow banks to close accounts for political or religious reasons. It requires banks to reopen accounts that were unfairly shut down and demands investigations into unlawful debanking involving the Attorney General. And that is just the start.
And joining us now, Coinbase's Chief Policy Officer, Faryar Shirzad, whose crypto exchange faced the very debanking threats we're talking about just last year. Let's dive right into this. There were always the claims they weren't doing this. The facts are out there. What do you want next out of this? Next steps, we got the executive order. How does the next step resolve your situation?
Well, it's a really exciting day, David. I think what the president did is to double down on something that he was very clear on in the campaign, which is the politicization of the financial regulatory system and the use of the financial regulators and the bank regulators to target political enemies is going to come to an end. The president took decisive action on this early with his executive order and then with actions by the individual agencies. But we're seeing the debanking of people in the crypto sector continue. And I think today's executive order was intended to try to put a definitive end to that.
Faryar, wait a minute, back up. Why are you still, with President Trump in the White House, still seeing debanking of individuals and companies in the crypto sector? Because we knew it was happening under Biden at the direction of the FDIC and examiners there. And Mark Andreessen himself said they came for crypto and tried to debank an entire generation of founders and their families, have them destroyed in assets. Why is it happening now?
Well, the regulators are spread all across the country, and the banks get messages that they're still responding to that are largely out of date given the change in the administration. And I think the president and the White House understand that effectuating change takes time and you really have to bed it down. And I think that's what they were trying to do here. In fact, we had one of our own employees who couldn't open a checking account because the bank in question wouldn't accept their job because it was a crypto-related job. And that sort of thing is happening, and you have to sort of get it by root and branch, and that's what today's executive order was intended to do, is just to put a definitive end to this.
Would you like to name the bank that did that?
No, but they actually, we publicized it on LinkedIn. The bank in question immediately called and apologized and took action. So they're trying bit by bit to get this right.
Well, you know, something you said, it's spread out all over the country. So this sounds like part of the strategy, which was no uniformity. And what can they do next? What can they do at the FDIC next to make sure you have some uniformity?
Well, the President Trump's appointees are doing very sort of decisive work in trying to get rid of the people who action the political targeting, and then also to clarify any policy statements they need. But what is also happening now is that they're making sure that as you see individual practices, that they come to light and that the regulators take action to deal with it. And one of the things that we've done at Coinbase is that we've launched the Freedom of Information Act request so that we get documentation that was hidden over the last 4 years to bring to light exactly what happened and what the roadmap of political targeting looked like, and try to bring an end to it. And we're making a lot of progress in that regard.
Have you gotten documents yet?
We've gotten a lot of documents, and we're seeing that a lot of the public statements that were made by the Biden regulators that debanking was not happening were actually not consistent with what the documents show. And I think that's really important to prevent this type of thing from happening again.
Publish all of them, Faryar.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Great to see you.
All right, thanks for having me on, guys.
Please come back, because again, it's crypto now. It might be you next, your industry.